Ruth Wilson is a British teenager from Betchworth, near Dorking in Surrey, England, who disappeared on the 27th of November 1995. Family and home life. Ruth Wilson is the daughter of Ian and Nesta Wilson. Her mother was born in Wellingborough on the 1st of May 1948 and was given the name Nesta Landig by her adoptive parents. Ian and Nesta were married in 1976 in Newport. When Wilson was 4 years old and her sister, Jenny, was a few months old, Nesta died. According to the story told to Wilson by the family, Nesta's death was a result of an accidental fall downstairs, but her death certificate recorded her cause of death as suicide. The death certificate states that Nesta died by hanging on the 10th of December 1982. Unbeknownst to her family, Wilson became aware of the true nature of her mother's death before she disappeared. Wilson's father, Ian G. Wilson, married Karen I. Bowerman in the last quarter of 1983 in Surrey. Both Wilson's father and stepmother worked as teachers. Ian also served as a local parish councillor. Wilson enjoyed reading, going on bike rides and music. She played the electric guitar and piano. She also had a Saturday job working in a music shop and was a popular local babysitter. She was studying for her A-levels at the Ashcombe School 6th form when she disappeared. She attended her local church, St. Michael's. She was a member of the choir, played the organ and enjoyed bell ringing. Around October 1995, according to Catherine Mayer, a friend, Wilson developed the belief that her biological mother's death was not as she had been told. She traveled to London to examine Nesta's death certificate. Ben Anderton, a school friend of Wilson's, says she ran away from home a month before her final disappearance and hid at his house in Betchworth. Mayer was due to move to Sheffield, South Yorkshire, and Wilson had asked if she could come with her once she was settled. Wilson went missing a few weeks after Mayer moved. Mayer's mother recalled that Wilson had slept over not long before she disappeared and had been adamant that she did not want to go back home. Wilson did not explain why. Mayer has stated that Wilson had talked about running away but not suicide. Wilson's parents have refuted claims that her home life was unhappy. Events. On the Saturday before her disappearance, Wilson worked her usual job in a music shop in Dorking, then went for a meal with her ex-boyfriend, Will Kennedy, and another friend, Neil Phillipson. Kennedy and Phillipson both stated that Wilson paid for the meal and told them it would be something to remember her by. Wilson went for handbell practice at the local church on Sunday, then went to a youth group in Dorking, then back to Kennedy's for supper. His mother gave her some old clothing. Her family remembered her being relaxed. Disappearance. Wilson's parents left early for work on the day of her disappearance, leaving Wilson and her sister Jenny to catch the school bus. At the last moment, Wilson told Jenny that she wasn't going with her on the bus. Jenny wasn't surprised as Wilson was in the 6th form and didn't always come in for the whole day, though she was surprised that her sister left it so late to tell her before the arrival of the bus. Shortly after Jenny left for school, Kennedy appeared with his car and offered Ruth a lift. She declined, saying she would meet up later. She did not attend school at all that day. At around 11:30 a.m., Wilson took a taxi into Dorking. Around midday, she ordered flowers for her stepmother from Thistle's florist at 257 Dorking High Street. Wilson asked that they not be delivered until the following Wednesday. Wilson spent the afternoon in Dorking Library. Around 4 p.m. she took a taxi from Dorking railway station to Box Hill. She was dropped off on a bridleway a short way from the Hand in Hand pub, now the Box Tree, on Box Hill. The taxi driver stated that Wilson displayed unusual behavior in that she simply stood still in the rain as he drove off. This was notable as the taxi driver observed that people typically walk away after they have been dropped off. In other reports, the taxi driver stated that Ruth appeared to be looking round for someone. The taxi driver was the last person to see her at 4:30 p.m. At the time of her disappearance, Ruth was wearing a red knitted jumper, black velvet trousers, black pixie boots and a small lady's watch on her left wrist. She had a small blue duffel bag with a personal stereo and tapes. Liam Macaulay, a 58-year-old retired police officer investigating the disappearance, observed that Wilson was dressed to get into another car, implying that a third party may have been involved, and running away seemed more likely than suicide. Macaulay also stated that disappearing completely would be very difficult. Wilson disappeared 14 days before the 13th anniversary of her mother's death. Aftermath: that night, Surrey police organized a search for Wilson with a helicopter, police dogs and heat-seeking equipment. They searched the Box Hill area but found no solid clues as to her whereabouts. It was subsequently discovered that she frequently went to Box Hill after school. She was also concerned about her performance at school and had kept a school report from her parents that weekend. On the 29th of November, 2 days after the disappearance, the flowers ordered by Wilson were delivered to her stepmother Karen. The flowers were described by Ian Wilson as an expensive bouquet in subsequent reports. There was no note attached to the flowers. Wilson's friend Mary interpreted this gesture as sticking 2 fingers up to her stepmother. On Friday the 1st of December, 4 days after the disappearance, as reported in the Times newspaper, the 29th of December 1995, police found 3 notes hidden under a bush in the undergrowth at the top edge of Betchworth Quarry on Box Hill. The notes amounted to farewells to her parents, her best friend and a teenage boy she knew. Nearby were found empty packets of paracetamol tablets and a half-empty bottle of vermouth. The police have never divulged the contents of the notes to the public. On Saturday the 2nd of December, 5 days after the disappearance, a large-scale search was organized by the police and fire and rescue services, which included 60 volunteers comprising local members of the public, school friends, colleagues and wardens from the National Trust. The search utilized a police helicopter, tracker dogs and thermal imaging equipment. A detailed search of the Betchworth Quarry end of Box Hill was undertaken by a trained search and rescue team along with employees of the owners of the quarry Niona Limited. Mark Williams Thomas, who was the family liaison officer for Wilson's case, stated that extensive searches across Box Hill had yielded no evidence to suggest she was killed or committed suicide. He also stated that he was sure Wilson was not abducted by a stranger. Williams Thomas also stated that, from the experience I have had, I would suggest one of 2 things occurred. She either went up there to meet someone and has subsequently gone away, or she went there and died in some way. On Friday the 8th of December 1995, Ian and Karen Wilson appeared on the Granada TV breakfast program This Morning to appeal for information. They stated that they believed that Ruth was still alive but afraid to come home. 8 months after the disappearance, Catherine Mayer was visited at her new home in Sheffield by the police. The officers broke off from questioning her to look in her wardrobe, as if she might have been harboring Wilson. The police assigned the codename Operation Scholar to the case. The unsolved missing persons case is reviewed on a regular basis and is being led by DCI Alex Geldart. Surrey police have stated that the investigation would be reopened if any new evidence or lines of inquiry came to light. Possible sightings. On the 6th of October 1996, Stuart Qualtrough wrote in the People newspaper, "It is believed Ruth was spotted on the outskirts of London on Tuesday, the 1st of October 1996, after cable station Alabang VETV appealed for help on their missing persons program. On the first anniversary of the disappearance, a person thought to resemble Wilson was captured on CCTV at a Dorking newsagent's shop 2 miles from Box Hill. The female teenager was distressed and requested a copy of each of the local newspapers and became visibly upset when she was told that one had sold out. The newspaper shop owner reported the encounter to the police and saved the CCTV footage. The local newspapers featured reference to Wilson's disappearance. Ruth's parents stated in an article in the Times on the 2nd of January 1997 that they believed the girl in the video was Ruth. Speaking on the 10th anniversary of Wilson's disappearance, SGT Shane Craven, head of East Surrey Police's missing persons team, stated that, in the weeks following Ruth's disappearance, there were some fairly reliable sightings of her in the Dorking area by people who knew her well. Sightings have been reported as far afield as Canada. A Surrey Advertiser article by Rebecca Younger, dated the 9th of December 2008, announced an appeal to mark the 13th anniversary of the disappearance. In this appeal, Surrey Police revealed that they were investigating a posting on a MySpace site about a possible sighting in Canada. The missing persons team have stated that they followed up every lead. In 2018, a local newspaper sent out an appeal to anyone who had known Wilson at the time to come forward with any information that could shed light on the disappearance. Roxy Birch, who had known Wilson at school and portrayed her in a police reconstruction video, claimed that Wilson didn't drive and didn't own a passport at the time of her disappearance, which would have made long-distance and international travel more difficult. Another friend, Cabe Leonard, stated, "My belief is that she had planned to do something. I don't know whether that would be permanent or temporary. I'd also like to believe that someone knows what happened the same year." John Saville, the Chief Superintendent of Public Protection at Surrey Police, gave a review of the case in which he stated, "There are 5 explanations for Ruth Wilson's disappearance: a tragic accident, abduction, suicide, murder, or that she had absented herself to start a new life." Documentary film about the case titled Vanished, The Surrey Schoolgirl was produced in 2018. It introduced some new witnesses, mainly friends of the missing girl. Wilson's parents were asked if they wanted to be involved, but declined the offer. See also list of people who disappeared. References. External links: Vanished documentary in full.